Jim Nicholson is in our Washington bureau. He was Secretary of Veterans Affairs under George W. Bush, and he's also a former chairman of the RNC. Mr. Secretary, thanks for joining us.
Sure, it's a pleasure.
So, sir, these Trump University documents come after Mr. Trump had to defend the delay in his donations to veterans groups. Trump's Iowa fundraiser for veterans was way back in January, but many of those checks didn't go out until May. Does that make any sense to you?
It might, because they probably wanted to vet these veterans organizations. There are hundreds, if not thousands of them out there. And unfortunately, while most of them are legitimate, some of them are not. Some of them are scams. And so I'm sure they wanted to be very careful about to whom they were going to give this money.
Certainly, and that's Donald Trump has said that he wanted to make sure that these organizations were well vetted. But many of those checks were dated on May 24th. That's the same day the Washington Post reporters pressed Mr. Trump to explain where the money he promised was going. So what do you make of that?
I don't know whether that was a coincidence or not, to be honest with you. I'm not part of the Trump campaign. I have read about that. It could be that it was a coincidence. It could be that the Washington Post looking into it prompted him to get on the ball and get those checks out.
All right. Sir, Donald Trump has been the party's presumptive nominee for almost a month now, but he is still publicly attacking fellow Republicans. Here's a clip from Tuesday. Donald Trump is first talking about New Mexico Governor Susana Martinez. Take a listen.
She was not nice, and I was fine, just a little bit of a jab, but she wasn't nice, and you think I'm going to change? I'm not changing, including with her. I'm not a fan of Mitt Romney. Mitt Romney lost an election that he should have won, and if you read the front page of the Wall Street Journal about Mitt Romney, he looks like a fool. If I have a Republican that's not on my side, I'm not going to, why should I be particularly nice to that person?
So there, Mr. Trump has said that he's willing to keep hitting fellow Republicans. Is this undermining the goal that we've heard from Reince Priebus and others that they need the Republican Party needs to be unified, and this is going against that?
It could. I was chairman of the party for 4 years, and I emphasized unity. I used to say, if we don't hang together, we'll hang separately. And we need to bring everybody together to win an election in this country. And so I support Donald Trump. He wasn't my candidate in the beginning. I supported Jeb Bush, but he is now the nominee apparent of our party, and he's a far better choice than we have in the apparent nominee of the Democrat Party. So we need to get behind him. He's been an unconventional candidate, but he went through the system. He followed the rules, and he got himself the nomination. So while I wouldn't do things the way he does in every case, and I'm sure many of my friends in the party wouldn't either, he has won the nomination, and he's going to be our nominee. And I think he's possessed with a lot of common sense, and he's got a goal, which I really like, which is to make America great again. And so while he wouldn't fit into my format in every way necessarily, I support him, and I'm urging all my Republican friends to do the same, because we really only have two choices, and our choice is far better than theirs.
And yet, sir, Paul Ryan gave an interview to People magazine, which published on Wednesday, and he required that the magazine not ask him about Donald Trump. Now, you're calling for Republicans to get behind the nominee. He's a top-ranking elected Republican, and he still has yet to endorse Donald Trump. So as a former chairman of the RNC, what's your message to him?
Everybody has to deal with their own conscience and their own set of principles about this. And Paul is certainly a principled person and disciplined. But I think in the end that Speaker Ryan is going to get behind Donald Trump, as has Majority Leader Mitch McConnell and almost all the leadership of the party, and the rank and file will be there. Because we only have two choices, and our choice is clearly better than theirs, and our choice could turn out to be a spectacular president, because he's attacking many of the things that are nagging at the American soul, which is all this political correctness, how weak we've become abroad, how unrespected we are. People neither fear us or respect us. And he is speaking right into that, and the Americans are very concerned about that. So he could turn out to be a spectacular president.
All right, Secretary Jim Nicholson, thank you so much for your time, sir. We appreciate it.
You bet.